everybody, Craft Director Justine here. I hope you've been having a great time with your craft boxes. Today we're going to be working on what I think is the trickiest project. We're going to be making some wind chimes. Now, as you can see, these turned out very differently from these. In this project, we gave you a lot of flexibility in how long you can make things and how these strands of beads are going to look. But before we get to that creative choice, let's just get started from the beginning. So you have some fishing line. Now, depending on who prepared your kit, you might have them already cut into pieces, or like I've got, you might have to cut them into smaller pieces yourself from one big strand. On your instructions, it tells you you need 3 pieces that are 2 feet long and 4 pieces that are 4 feet long. So if you have your ruler from your no-sew pillow kit, you can use that and those scissors. And as soon as I find the end here, I will get started. These don't have to be very precise because when you tie the knots, you're going to be, you have room to adjust for things or to make it a little more unique, a little more you. So let's go ahead and cut our pieces, and I will see you back here in a couple minutes, okay? Okay, welcome back. So hopefully you have your pieces cut and separated. I'm gonna take my 2 foot long pieces and just set them to the side so I don't get them mixed in right now. And I'm going to start with my 4 foot long pieces. So for these, we're gonna take the wind chimes right out of the bag. You'll see there are holes on one end of your wind chime. You can see right through it. Sometimes there's little metal tags still sticking out. If that's the case, just try and knock them down. You can use a pencil pen to just poke out the tags so you can get right through. I'm going to take one 4 foot long piece of fishing line and feed it right through 2 holes there. And I'm going to take the other end of my fishing line, hold them together, so that the chime is just right at the bottom, right in the middle. And I'm going to pinch it down here about 1 inch above the wind chime, and I'm going to double knot it there, okay? So it's not right tight on the fishing line holding it skewed on the wind chime, just a little bit above so it can hang nice and loose and straight down. So I'm going to tie that knot once and then twice so it's nice and secure. We're going to be doing double knots or even triple knots on all of this. So again, I'll show that to you one more time. We're going to take a piece of fishing line, feed it right through those 2 holes straight across, bring our ends together, let it hang nice and flat and loose there, and I'm just gonna twist the line around my finger to form a little loop, feed the ends through the loop, and pull it nice and tight. So that's 1 knot, and I will do a 2nd knot there. It's okay if your knots are not exactly the same height above your chimes. You can try to get them close, or you can make them as different as you want them to look. So I'm going to go ahead and do these next 2 chimes, and then we'll see you back here in a minute, okay? Welcome back again. So hopefully now you have all of your strings on all of your wind chimes and you are prepped and ready to go. Now your next step, we're going to start using our beads. Hopefully when you opened your kit they didn't scatter too much. I'm going to just dump a few of them out of my cup for right now, and I'm going to take a look at them. So some of them have these very big open holes, and if I try to put that right on here, it's going to slide right over that double knot and sit right on the wind chime, and the weight of that will start to knock it sideways. So instead, the first bead that I put on each strand, I want to have a very small hole that will sit right on top of that double knot, so it continues to give the wind chime plenty of space to just hang loose and hang free. So here's a nice small bead. I'm going to have two ends to my string here because we doubled it up. So I want both strings to go through the whole of this bead. And once I get both strings through there, sometimes because it's a very tiny hole, the fishing line is a little too thick, so I might need to pick a different bead, but this one seems to have worked. So I'm going to slide it all the way right down. And now because the bead is bigger than my double knot, I can start to use beads with a little bit bigger of a hole. And I'm just gonna go through, pick through my cup, find beads that I like, and keep stringing them on there. I always want both strings of the fishing line to go through that center hole. Just holds it all nice and tight together. Now, as we pointed out before, this is where you get a lot of creative freedom. The camper who made this wind chime chose to make all of these strands look very similar. And the camper who made this one said they're all going to be totally different. And they're both cool. They both turned out pretty nice. They sound great. So I'm going to go ahead and string some beads onto all four of my wind chimes. I want to leave myself some room to tie it onto our little mason jar ring. So I'm not going to do more than 6 inches per strand. Okay, you can make them shorter if you want to, but I would not go any longer than this. Okay, leave yourself plenty of room to tie knots later. So take a few minutes, have fun stringing on your beads, and we'll see you back here in a bit. All right. Hello again, campers. So hopefully by now you've found some beautiful creative patterns to put on your wind chime. I've gone and made all of mine pretty short. There's some similarities, some differences, but I think they're going to look great together. So these two I've already finished off, but I will show you on these two what to do once you've put on all of your beads. You want to leave a little bit of space over your bead, and then you're just going to do a knot there to stop these beads from falling off while you're working with them. You can make it a double knot, but because it doesn't need to hold things together after the project is finished, it doesn't need to be quite so secure. So one knot would be sufficient. And again, just leave a little bit of room over the beads when you do that. So again, just leave a little room, make a loop, tuck those ends through, pull it nice and tight so the beads can't fall off, and voila. So now we get to the very exciting step of adding our wind chime strands onto our ring. So between your two strands here, you're going to start just one strand at a time. You're going to take your ring, put it over one strand, okay, and then bring it down so it should sit right on top of that knot you just made, and then you can grab the other string up here. I know it's difficult to see the fishing line on camera, but your ring is sitting right between your two strands, right on top of the knot you just made, and we're going to do a triple knot here to make sure it's on there very securely. Okay. Nice and tight, and you want to try to keep it so that the strand is hanging from the bottom. Sometimes when you tie it, it tries to bring the top of the strand to the top. You can just adjust it, pull it back down to the bottom. Okay, so there's 1, 2. Again, we're going to do these all triple knots, super secure, because we don't want our chimes falling off of the wind chime. Okay. Now I'm going to take the next one. Again, just put the ring over top of one of those strands and slide it up until it's sitting right on that knot we made. And again, I'm just going to triple knot it in place. Cross the strings, tuck it under, and pull. Oh, now it's trying to get the beads caught in there. We'll just try and not do that. Okay. And then once you've got it triple knotted, leave yourself about an inch of the fishing line, but you can cut off the extra. If you're doing nice long strands of beads, you won't have much extra, but if yours are short like mine, all of this extra is just going to get in the way of you tying other knots. So I'm going to find the extra from that first one. It got tied into my second knot, and just going to trim that extra off before we add another set of wind chimes. So here's where we are so far. I'm going to add the next two, and then I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back again. I hope that your wind chime is looking beautiful and fun, and I hope you're happy with it so far. You'll notice the last thing we need to really make this shine is a way to hang it up. Whether you want to hang it up inside where it can just be beautiful decoration, or if you want to hang it up outside so you can hear the wind and see what kind of music it makes. You need a way to hang it up. So that's where these other pieces of fishing line that we set aside earlier come into play. So just like we did with those last ones, we're going to tie these onto the ring, except here we want to double it up here, and we really just need one right around the ring. Unless you really want it to be super secure, double knots are always fine. And we'll set that aside. We want to try and space them out evenly around the ring so that it will hang evenly from whatever surface you hang it up on. So just cross them over, tuck and pull, cross and tuck and pull. Okay, and one more. If your if your strands of beads had lots of extra space on the top, you could just use those extra strands without having to add these, but because everyone's is going to be a little differently, I like to have the extra security of having these three pieces available. All right, one more knot. Now we're going to gather all of these loose ends. So there should be 6, and we're going to bring them all up to the top. And we want to try to get this to hang evenly. Make sure we have all of our strings stretched nice and tight. This one's really loose, so I want to try and figure out how to adjust that. And then I'm going to twist them all together up here. And you have to decide if you want yours to have a short space or a long space. The bigger it is, the easier it's going to be to hang it up and have it hang down nice and flat. But if you like the look of this petite little one, that's pretty cool too. I'm going to give mine about a medium amount, twist these all together so it's easier to tie one big knot. And I'm going to make a loop, tuck the loose ends through, and pull. And I'm going to make this one another triple knot. Now, if you happen to have a hot glue gun and adult supervision available at home, one thing you could do to make your project just a little more extra secure would be to put hot glue on all of the knots. A nice big dab of hot glue on this top knot so that it doesn't come undone and fall down. And then when these are spaced evenly, a dab of hot glue on the inside of the ring to stop them from sliding around. But there you have it. You could trim these extra bits on the top and find a place to hang it up, and there's your wind chime. All right, and if you happen to finish yours and you want to show it off, I would love to see pictures of how your projects comes out. And in the meantime, I hope you have a fine swabby-doo-dah day. Thanks.